Welcome everybody to Off the Perc Podcast, episode 5, with my co-host 32 Daniel. Hi. And our guest for today is CorruptedGreed.
Yo.
So, to start off with, when did you join Earthmc?
January 2018. Basically just beginning of January.
What day was it?
It was January 22nd.
How do you remember that?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
What time was it?
I don't know what I joined.
It was like afternoon. I couldn't give you an exact time, maybe like 12 to 3 p.m.
Oh, so
And how do you discover it? Like the YouTube video?
I discovered it
before that.
It was on a voting it was on a voting server list or whatever. I think I was looking through like sort of like faction servers, and I started clicking around. You got role play, survival, multiplayer, whatever, and then I just ended up finding Earthmc.
What's not to like?
Yeah, all the best tag selections. But yeah, I ended up joining, and then the first person messaged me in game, the one and only Philly Bob 777.
Wait a minute, hold on. I'm hearing
Holy crap, I just got goosebumps.
I'm hearing a little bit of background noise on Greed's audio. Do you hear that, all, John?
Background noise? What are you talking about?
Okay, it actually just got fixed right now. I don't know. I literally heard it though. Anyway, keep going.
Okay, but yeah, Philly Bob was the first person to message me. And he's like, "Hey, you looking for a town?" And I'm like, "I guess I am." And I joined. And this was back in the day on EMC where like everybody you recruited would like actually play the server. Like it wasn't just like I just never come back again. They'd use me as like a number, So it was me, Philly, and the first guy he recruited. The first guy he recruited, they just vanished. But I was like his number 2 from that point forward in terms of like helping him with the town, everything. Yeah.
Is this Canadian Rome?
Yes, this is Canadian Rome. It was Siscia. It was named like Siscia. So like like the Sicily, like in Italy, but it was in Canada.
Did you make it in Canada because like Rome was taken like all
year? Yeah. There was a nation called like Roman Empire, and it was like Carthage. I don't know if Dan might remember this, but
so you're most known for your time on Nova, I think, or at least I know you best as that. Owning Byzantium.
Yes.
And you had a number of foes in multiple different regions, but who stuck out as like the number one pain in the neck?
Number one, that John Erico will maybe domestically, if you put it that way, like in terms of like rebels, it'd be like probably John Erico tied with Killerin. Yeah, they're really annoying. And the only thing they shared in common was the fact that we gave them like a 400, 500 chunk town, and then they just like left with it. That's like the worst thing you could do to someone on like Nova, because there was just no like recourse.
Yeah.
No overclaim, nothing you could do to like get back at them, and they just like sit with the town forever. So
I was meaning like more externally, like
externally,
Bosnia, ancient Egypt, Turkey. I was thinking ancient Egypt just because how active they were for so long.
Yeah, ancient Egypt.
It wasn't because you let the province all shot.
What?
Anyway, Greed, what's your answer?
No, I think ancient Egypt, I'd give them like the most props for being like the actual like they were an actual nation that like somehow persevered. But most annoying rebel, I'd say probably Bosnia, because they stuck around for like almost 9 months, I think, and the only reason they got wiped out is just because like they were banned for like duping and everything. So like if that whole thing didn't like unfold, they would have probably been here to like the end of the map, just holding their towns.
And who banned the Bosnians?
Highlander. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's crazy. Full circle. Really is.
So on episode 2, Lervain had bold accusations.
Ooh.
He was
I think I was
and
there for
he's
that.
still making them to this day. I see him, snooping around the Earthmc Discord saying that Venice is
the nerve.
Yep. To this day he's saying that Venice is carried by its admin leader and it's abusing. You have anything to say though, Lervain?
I think with Lervain's perspective and many other people's perspective, it's just like a lack of understanding of the game, Like there's nothing I could do that would convince them otherwise of me like not doing something for my own benefit. Because when Overclaim was like being announced by Fix and all of that in the past like year, Venice was at like 700 out of 40 chunks. I was like the only one in the town aside from like me, Puddles, and like 3 random residents. So it's like me adding this, like I couldn't have predicted. I even thought I had to unclaim myself before Dan came and started recruiting, and then Fritz came, started recruiting. So I had this whole plan, but like everybody back then, when it didn't benefit me, they're just calling me and Fix like retarded for doing this, saying we're gonna destroy the server. But now that Overclaim's been implemented for months, and now that like Venice has grown into an actual nation, now it just turns into like, oh, this was the plan all along. Like I somehow predicted that we'd explode in popularity and like become an actual nation from like a city state. So it's like
You're telling me you did not call the hotline to summon Dan and Fritz?
no.
Well, he
no.
did. He
Well,
did because he said to me like, "Hey, like, look, Mind Hero's in the Discord right now." And then I saw that, and then I saw Overclaim, and he never mentioned it to me. It's not
Yeah.
cool.
Yep, he manipulated him like that.
He did.
Yeah. I never brought up a single thing, no plan, never. Didn't let Dan snipe any towns for gold, and here we are today. It really
guess
did all
we
end
are.
up working out. But yeah, no, anybody who's like, oh yeah, it's just for your own benefit or whatever, like they're not really examining the situation objectively. Like how would I benefit from adding something that would like inherently doom my town as it was back then, being 600, 700 chunks over when I don't recruit as much.
All right, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, who was Well, what was your nation on Classic? Did we talk about that? Because you just said that Philly like recruited you to Canadian Rome, but like, were you there the whole time?
I was basically with them since day one because we used to be
Wow.
in Canada, and then shortly after he recruited me, he was saving up gold, and he like left Canada on good terms, like somehow I guess because like you couldn't really do anything on Classic if someone made a nation your land, and then he made like North Canadian Rome basically. So I was just with them since with Philly since day one. I was the first consul of North Canadian Rome, and then eventually I just ended up being like inactive, and I quit, and I let my player data purge, and I came back, and I let it purge again, and then I was just on and off some other towny servers until Terra Nova was announced.
Back
And
then was EarthMC like today? It's like undoubtedly like the biggest towny server, but back then, was it like more level?
I'd say there were some other competitors. I never played any of them, so I don't know if it was like a branding thing, but EarthMC was like, small, humble server. You got like the one mod in chat talking with the community. Like it was like that type of vibe. It was like a survival multiplayer type of vibe. It wasn't like a more corporate, mechanized like popular server.
Starless
Like
place like it is today.
yeah, exactly. It's just the spirit, everything was completely different. So and everybody was racist too, and extremely homophobic, which brings back memories of the good old, Gamergate era. But I guess
you
that was
know,
like 2017, so yeah.
you say that Philly was with you since day one, and I
Mhm.
know that like when he helped make like the Roman Empire, a Nova. Eventually,
Mhm.
he led that, and then he gave it to you, and then you led that into Nova.
Mhm.
And so is Philly still with you today?
No, he isn't.
Where is he?
Unfortunately, he's in
He's in Chi-Town.
yeah.
Oh my God! Why? Why? What happened?
It
He's
really
not really in.
was yeah. It
What
really was a
happened?
tragic story. Just the fall of the falling out that we had. I can't even put into words. Philly, if you're listening to this, you can come home. We can talk.
Do you think Philly's gonna listen to this?
He might. You don't know. Like,
I need to DM him. I need to make like a Discord alt and DM him with it, just like out of the blue.
mm,
Because
I
if I
mean,
DM him with,
think
I don't want to like ruin our relationship, you know.
yeah. Think about it this way, Dan. It's like if it's like he sees his podcast and he's like, "Oh, episode Lervain." Like, who the fuck cares? But it's like episode of Greed. Like, he's known me for a long time. Like, what's stopping him from listening to it? Unironically, like, think about it that way.
Possibly. So,
So, that could
who
be
would you
true.
say? Who would you say besides Philly are the people in EMC you miss the most? Because you've been around so long. Like, who have you seen come and go that you're like, wow, I wish he was, or I wish she was still here, or they,
Like their
they them.
time being cut short on EMC or just in
Or them
general.
just quitting in general, and you wish they didn't quit. Like
Yeah.
they're still playing.
There's like so many people that like when somebody is like in your block game life for such a short amount of time and then they quit and you're like, wow, those really were the best times. Like I feel like with a lot of those people, like if I reflect on it now, it's like if they played longer, like I would have gotten like annoyed with them or like somehow in some conflict. That's something that happened with Yellow. because Yellow, early Terra Nova, playing with the Byzantium, all that stuff, he was pretty chill. But then as it went by and his like schizophrenia set in, it became like very apparent that like he was a much more problematic person than he was set out to be. So I think in terms of activity, probably add some citizens. Like I had this guy named Kazmar who built like half of my town. I just gave him all the materials.
Isn't he still around?
He's still around, but he's like not really like there. He's just like he exists as an entity that contacts me like once every 2 months. He's not like he's more elusive than Brent. But Brent,
Wait,
I'd say,
Kazmar's on Aurora?
yeah, he owns a town.
Wait, he built half of Venice?
No, not half Venice. He built half my town, Troy.
Half of Troy?
Yeah, on Nova, because he
Okay.
just freehanded, and I give him all the stuff. And
What
he
does he
just
talk
keep
to you about now?
He briefly brought up his nation and how he was like thinking about what to do because of Overclaim, and I'm like, oh, you can just join Venice and like chill if you're not thinking about anything. So he just like deleted his nation. He's in Venice right now, just sitting. But I haven't spoken to him since, and that was like 2 months.
He's in the town?
He's in the nation. He owns a town. His town's north of our town by like 2 towns. It's like southern Germany.
What town is he? Oh, I know the town. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought he was Polish. I didn't know he was one of your guys.
No, yeah, no, he was. His name does sound Polish, but yeah, no, he's with us.
What do you think, like, a ranking from Classic, Nova, and Aurora, top 5 Earthmc nations of all time?
Classic, Nova, Aurora. That's quite the span.
Like, combined, just in general on the server.
Classic, Nova.
No, it's a tricky one.
Aurora. It is, because it's like the power scaling changes between like the mechanics. Like with Overclaim now, it's arguably much harder to be at like the same state that nations were in like let's say Nova.
Well, you have to take that into consideration. Like it's relative.
Yeah, I think
like
in relative
everyone's debuff.
Yeah, everyone has a debuff. Good. That's a good point. I'd say for number 1, I'd probably put.
Starting at 1?
You want me to start at 5?
I'm just asking.
At 5, I'd put Canada on Classic, because they were like pretty big, and they were like I'd say they were like the slightly bigger rival of like Spain on like I don't think Spain would outclass Canada. Canada like won all the war days, and like every time there was something that happened, like a town falling, they'd always outpost everything first. And Spain was just like it was more of an afterthought, Iron Farron and like Zappy or whatever, and Sario, all of them I didn't really give as much leeway to. So I put Canada at 5. At 4, this is like, this is way harder than I thought.
A good question.
Just nations, right? Not like or are you talking like any sort of collective, like just /N nations?
I mean,
like...
it depends. Like, if you consider 2 nations to be close enough, like groups, like groups of people, I guess. Like, I would consider SPQ and Italia basically like one nation, because it's the same group.
Yeah, okay, so player groups. Okay, I get it then. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'd say like the whole Canada group, which basically evolved into like Wabanaki and then evolved into NSR. That group for Classic.
But like,
Classic iteration.
Canada and NSR would be 2 different entities.
Yeah. So Canada would be, I'd say, 5th place. Canada on Classic. And then I'd put, I don't think Japan really, with, like, Classic Accordo didn't really shape out because of Slifer's getting banned. But I'd say, I'd put, I know there's someone at 4th. I'd put Nova Accordo. If we have GRE, we got, all this other stuff. I put Nova Accordo.
I'm kind of low on them. I don't know. Yeah. They were kind of turning up the league for a little bit.
Yeah. I think they're overall, like, the only problem was that, like, they just tripped and face planted in like the last year of
it's
Nova.
It's like James Harden.
Yeah. It's because
how is it like James Harden?
I don't really watch basketball, but he fell off.
Yeah, your performance, your numbers coming out the gate are like top tier, and then you just like trip on your shoelaces face plant type of thing.
That's not what happened to James
It's like
Harden.
Elvis Presley dying on the toilet. Like
That's kind of more like that.
Yeah. I guess you could use that as a better example. Yeah. So, so that's why I'd put them at fourth, because it's like they were up there for a while, if not like the majority of the like Nova's lifespan, but they had such a fall from grace that it's like I can't keep them, in the highest league. However, who I can't put above them at 3, that'd be the GRE group. GRE number 3.
Wow.
That's
And what do you consider like in GRE? Like, do you consider like Persia when you're thinking of the GRE group?
I think in terms of
like
obviously the GRE didn't end with Persia, but I think it's overall like the lifespan across the map and like the nations it like took and like released like throughout that whole time was like it was a pretty powerful entity ever since like forming into the GRE from Byzantium, because it used to be like Byzantine Empire, but then it became GRE in like early 2019.
So who's 2-1 then?
2-1. 2-1.
Well,
you might know you might know who I'm thinking of for these.
I'm not really thinking about it because
I'm thinking, I don't know, like Venice and someone.
Maybe
I'm trying to be surprised, so I'm empty-headed right now because I'm trying to be surprised.
Yeah.
I also have a headache. I don't know why.
I think
I don't really know what the other one is. I'm like perplexed. Japan, Aurora, Japan.
Aurora,
Classic T Tarek.
I don't know this server, man.
Yeah, it's actually Classic C Tarek is a god. If Terra joined like a year prior to when he did, I do think C Tarek would win the classic GOAT debate. He literally came in like so late, but he did a lot, so he like barely falls short of like Canada. Canada was just huge.
Damn shame.
But yeah, for first and second, it's like
well,
I know you might be thinking all shot of like a lot of these nations like Mali or like Japan on like Aurora, and the main reason why I wouldn't put them into
the thing is like you think they have wealth, but so do so many other like nations and groups on Aurora. It's not like. But when you think of like Nova and Classic, like it was I think it was a lot more.
Canada had like 1 million gold on Classic.
Yeah, they did. They had a lot, especially Brendan.
Like in Aurora, it's a lot more plateaued. Like it's a lot more even. Whereas like I think Nova was a lot more unbalanced. Like it was clear. Like
like don't get me wrong. In terms of economy, they would be like the frontier of Nova. Like they pushed the limits to like how much you can have aside from people on Classic. Like Dan said, having 1 million gold and stuff like that. But like I just wouldn't like. They don't have as much headspace of like the community. They don't have like that much of a presence that like these other two nations do.
Okay, and, you're edging me, bro. Just tell me.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question, Joe. This is gonna take up like half the podcast.
I'd say for number 2, I'd go with the modern day iteration of Canada, NSR.
Wow.
Oldest republic.
No, get that
The oldest republic on EMC. I think the fact that they were able to recover from Runner Boy, like arguably nuking half of their history in Nova, and then they came back for Aurora, and they somehow still have some like considerable presence is truly amazing. Like, because you already know that would have collapsed a lot of nations. Like, imagine if something of that magnitude happened to like Britain, and then like. Unbaited or Sereno or some other people like freak the fuck out and they just like leave everything and they leave the Discord. Like, how would they like control that? But with like, Wabanaki, like they stayed to like a resolve, They didn't
That's so beautiful.
They didn't promptly just collapse. But yeah, it's in terms of Aurora, they haven't like, been like insane, like in terms of like, expansionism and like economy or whatever, but they're like a very stable, large, presence.
Were they there since the start of Aurora?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And who's number 1?
Number 1. Oh. This truly is. It may come to a shock as many. Number 1, actually.
Hurry the heck up.
But, I think, number 1.
You want a drum roll?
Egyptus?
Yeah. Can we drop like a drum roll MP3 in here?
Okay.
Yeah. I'll edit it. I'll edit it.
All right. It's building up.
Yeah. Just imagine it.
There's fanfare now. There's trumpets. Okay.
Yeah.
S64 Yugoslavia.
Holy, close. S64 founded this nation, the great nation of Venice.
Wow.
This
So
is
you put
Venice.
yourself.
This is Earthmc.
You put yourself twice and Ireland twice, and a quarter, basically.
It's really humble, you know, because we didn't actually
this
start
just
out
shows
like
that the people who are in power, they stay in power.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it came to a shock as nobody. Like, you couldn't expect me to go without at least putting Venice in the top 3. But the main reason
I don't
why...
know. Like, me personally, I feel like... I don't know. I feel like Venice is more unstable than SBQR when I think about it.
I think if you...
And like, let's say we have a falling out with the Dres gang and with... Thanomos.
Yeah, that's because of Overclaim, because SPQR didn't have to do anything. You just
exactly, Allshot. You have to think about it this way, Allshot. The only reason why I put Venice here and not like the GRE or any like sort of Nova nations in the hot seat in the #1 spot is because I'm shocked how Overclaim has gone by with Venice. Like, I was totally expecting to unclaim like 300 chunks from the town and be on like life support. However, we've rebounded and basically overtaken every other nation in the region and, like, you know, globally in numbers as well for, like, people recruited, overall town blocks, all of that, right? So I think you couldn't even dream of, like, the GRE maintaining, like, a third of its power, a fourth of its power if Nova was to implement Overclaim. It just, like, we just promptly dissolve into Greece and Turkey.
It's an issue we didn't have to deal with. I don't know if, let's say, if there was like a big ethnic Italian base, like there was like ethnic, I don't know, Balkan or Turkish or like French Egyptian base. I don't know if Venice could deal with that. It's different problem.
There is a big Turkish base.
Also,
also
every other nation had a year head start. Keep that in mind.
That's true. Because our nation was just a single town. All these other nations had been developing footholds up until this point. And the fact that it's turned inverse this quickly does show how powerful, like, Venice is.
I don't know. I just think it's impressive that how we, like, SPQR had Turkey as one of its, like, core claims. And it controlled, like, most of Anatolia for the entire...
But that was over the course of, like, years. And the fact that...
But the difference between Venice and SPQR is we can lose all our towns in Turkey and it wouldn't be a problem because we don't really claim Turkey. It's not integral to be, like, for Turkey to be Venetian. But in order to be Byzantium, you need, like, Anatolia. That's, like, a core...
Well, if you're going by territorial claims and, like, you know...
Like, I think it's impressive how SPQR managed such, like, a large claim area.
From a claim empire standpoint, you know, I'd say SPQR, GRE by extension, actually, not even just SPQR, would be like one of, if not the undisputed winner. But
and I'd
when you
say
balance
like
everything
Venice
else out,
has a lot more people with holders than SPQR. SPQR, we had like more less people with holders, but more like, I don't know, integrated people who became inactive, but still like held up their town.
Yeah, it's because the people back then, when they became inactive, they didn't have to still recruit for their town or pay for shield or anything. They could just do that until the end of time. So that's why a lot of people stuck around. Versus now, people aren't going to stick around to be like a citizen in their own town while like Jacob owns them, recruits for it, right? They're just going to quit the server forever if they are just leaving. So
this is like the NBA adding like the 3-pointer rule. Like it changes everything.
It does.
It really does.
Okay. I got a question.
Speaking of big changes, what's happening on May 1st?
May 1st? You got to mark the date. Be there when it happens.
When what happens?
When it happens, you know.
Okay. Unrelated to this, like I was looking at GitHub and I saw like a war plugin. What is that? Like how would that work? Would it be a good idea to add it to Earthmc hypothetically?
Hypothetically, well, I think with any sort of war iteration, the main goal isn't necessarily just absolute destruction of your town or your claims or your items. It would just be some mechanic for players in game to be able to like one up each other or have some official like I defeated you or I'm like dominant in this like area, right? So contrary to very popular belief, any sort of implementation of war, it wouldn't really result in like widespread destruction or additional grind. Obviously, it involves some more like, you know, PvP components, playing the game more, stuff like that, but it wouldn't be like a Like, it would be less harsh than Overclaim, because the main reason Overclaim exists is for
Yeah,
the
you
sake
can
of
actually
map
get your stuff
fluidity.
taken.
Yeah, you can actually get your stuff taken if you're Overclaim. With a war plugin, like, no war plugin we'd ever add would have some stuff like that destructive, where you're like losing game progress, you know. So I think for a basis, event war, or siege war, definitely not flag war, because that was a war classic had back in the day. But yeah, event war, siege war would be good basis to go off of for making a EMC functional plugin.
I see. I got a question.
Yeah.
So I opened the door today in a house I never opened the door in. And the door closed really fast and hard, and it closed right on my finger. And someone saw it, so I played it off, cool. But it hurt really hard.
Was it like a Mickey Mouse cartoon? Like, was your finger like pulsing, like red and blue?
Yeah.
It felt like that. So my question is, what would you have done in that situation? Been like, wow, that door really hurt me, or try to play it off and try to.
I think if somebody saw that happen to me, I'd like play into it even further to alleviate my own pain as well, and just let out like one giant like youch, like just audibly like into the like area that I'm in, like the hallway or whatever, and then like look over at the person, see if like they acknowledged my like reaction, and then depending on their reaction, just like just either be chill or like just start tweaking, because that would hurt, being like like crunched between.
I see.
I think it'd be like way more embarrassing to like tear my tricep, but with a 5-pound skull crusher. So I wouldn't even let the door bother me.
Did that happen to you?
No, it happened to this one guy I know.
No,
he thinks he's getting big. He thinks he's catching up to me, but
what's wrong with you?
I don't know.
All right, I got another question. So, why did you add Overclaim when most of the people like in that thread, like when you made it, they like downvoted it? They didn't want it. It seems like most people didn't want it, so why add it?
Do you think they like don't have the vision?
Yeah. Do you believe in us, Dan? That's the question. Do you believe in the server and the direction it's going in?
Are you asking if I believe in the direction the server's going in?
Yeah. In general, like I'm saying, this is like a thought exercise. Like, what do you think about the server and the way it's heading? And then I'll answer.
I mean, I'm kind of biased because I like chaos, and this is a lot more chaotic. But like, it does incentivize growth. But I think recently I've been thinking a lot like but it doesn't incentivize growth. I meant it incentivizes activity. But I've been thinking a lot like it would be a lot better to have implemented this on a new map, because right now it's like there's a lot of like, for example, Crimea. It's like Angel got that for Venice somehow. And he's like, damn, I recruit for this. But like, it's just so ridiculous, like that mindset to have. Like, you're not going to recruit for a 940 chunk town. That doesn't happen anymore. Like, it's really hard to do that. I feel like
what does this have to do with having over?
All right, well, if you waited like 2 seconds, I would address that. So like, I feel like on a new map, you wouldn't have like 940 chunk towns to be given away like you would have on the already developed maps. People's expectations would be kind of humbled a bit more. Does that answer your question?
Well, not really. I don't really see how this is. So yeah, Angel's gonna have a 940 chunk town. He's either gonna recruit for it or sell
He's
it.
not gonna recruit for
it. But like, why does it matter?
Because people stress about that kind of stuff, and that's why people don't like Overclaim, because they're stressed about it. Like, oh no, my progress is gone.
Yeah, no one forced him to buy the town.
No one forced him to, but that was a possibility. That's the problem.
Angel didn't buy that town, the town would have probably fallen, and there you go. The 940 town gets.
But it didn't, and Angel has it, and I used to worry about recruiting.
And yeah, they're gonna get overclaimed, or it's not gonna get overclaimed.
Right. I think there is a genuine it's valid criticism to be like, this shouldn't have been implemented mid-map, but I think from the way Fix approached this map, and he admitted this himself very clearly, that he like messed up by not really considering the same level of like map decay and like everything. Because when Nova launched, EMC hadn't blown up yet, but when Aurora launched, obviously everybody came in with all of the EMC knowledge, all of the meta, 20 times the manpower and everything, and they like everybody filled everywhere up very fast. So we reached a point in EMC where like the map, especially popular areas, obviously like East Coast US and China and Europe and all of that, those areas were filled within months compared to how long it took Nova to develop. So I think that was a genuine problem where we couldn't just reset and just fix that immediately. Like Fix wasn't willing to reset the server just to add Overclaim, and instead sort of had to make the call there to implement it mid map. And I think the way he went about it with the refund and everything, that's obviously if you made a lot of buildings, like that sucks if you have to unclaim some of them. But I don't think there's a single town that had like hundreds of builds of the developed land that they had to completely forfeit. There was no fully 900 chunk like built town that had to unclaim as a result.
There's
of,
a 900 chunk fully built town in general, but
well, yeah, that's I guess sort of the point. Like there was a very small edge case of players affected, but it was necessary for the server to make sure that the map wasn't just doomed for the subsequent like year and a half. Because obviously when people say like, oh yeah, reset the map and then do this, like they're not expecting us to reset tomorrow and close this map. They just want to have like their fun, how their Nova ancestors had it, and then like leave the problem off to the future EMC like map generation, right? That's why people want to like delay to like oh yeah, just implement this next map because they're gonna stop playing by that time. So it's not like it's selfish. That's like just naturally how people would think, but it's like this was the only way to make it so that the game wasn't stale for the.
Did you see like today or yesterday the Drake diss track leaked?
Wait,
Drake
before that
diss track. Hold
before
on.
that question, are there any changes, or rather, are there any plans to change the claim of overrate? Oh my god, I can't speak. It's so late. Are there any plans to change the overclaim rate at the moment, like 12 chunks, one person, 1 gold you got to pay for every 4 chunks you overclaims?
I think as it stands, it's at a fair amount. There's not going to be any sort of additional, like, because I know a lot of people think it's going to go all the way back down to 8 chunks or whatnot. And that was Fix's original plan, but I do think that unless the server gets some sort of a popularity boost or some like YouTuber makes a video or something like that, we're going to like remain at a 12. That's like a good halfway between 8 and 16. Because obviously, you can't expect people to go back to like numbers they were getting years ago in terms of recruitment when the server, doesn't have that same level of people coming in anymore. So
I see.
Probably
okay. So back to my question. Have you heard the Drake leak diss track?
Not specifically. No. What's it?
It was pretty good. He was like dissing basically like 15 different people diss Drake on the new Future Metro Boomin album.
Oh.
It's literally called "We Don't Trust You." Like it's the whole album is dissing Drake.
Damn.
I think he dissed Kendrick. He dissed Metro, Future, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, Lil Baby, a lot of people.
Well, Ozdad, there's speculation that might be AI and not really Drake.
No, it's Drake.
Are you sure?
How's it Drake? Has he confirmed it?
I know what Drake sounds like.
AI is really good at sounding like Drake, though.
Yeah.
No, the beat. No, it's not the voice. It was the instrumental. The beat was really good.
Anybody can make beats. It's not like Drake has access to something like.
It was like pretty professional sounding.
That's not how it works.
It was so good. You can't Google Drake type beat.
You can't be like, yeah, this was a Drake type beat. Like there's no like.
No, it was a Boy Wonder type beat. That's Drake's producer.
I've heard whole Drake songs, like Weekend songs, like that are like almost replicated.
It's real. Trust me.
Like, I think you may be falling victim to some misinformation, but we'll see if this.
No, it's real. It's called.
It is
20,
real.
20 push-ups, I think, or 50 push-ups.
It does exist. But
okay, you'll see Drake drop a 50 push-up song and be like, check off the Perc episode 5 at 22-minute timestamp. You'll see that I was right.
Over 22 minutes.
Possibly. Anyway,
all right. So
anything you wanted to talk about on the podcast? You want to get off your chest?
I'm not sure actually. Like I went in thinking, and like we did address like quite a lot of like a very broad variety of topics. Like we talked about, Nova, Classic even, I was surprised, Aurora, Drake, like we really did get all of the fundamental aspects of EMC. And,
did you hear about Iran and Israel?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I heard about that. That's something I completely forgot though. Yeah, that's very they have quite the thing going on right now as of mere hours ago. Checking the time.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Good, bad? I don't want my YouTube video getting struck, but
no. Okay, I'll hold back then. I think it's in terms of geopolitics, obviously it's an escalation, but it's nothing, that serious. And if we wake up to nuclear fallout tomorrow, then I guess you can blame me on episode 5 of Off the Perk
that'd be fucking
lying
awesome.
to you. Oh, would be awesing?
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, like if you ever had like stresses about the future, like at least everyone's like fuck, everyone's in fallout now.
There's still a future, it's just a really bad one.
Yeah, there's still.
Yeah, but it's bad for everyone,
Right.
Oh.
So you don't have to worry about your own miserable life because everybody's life.
Whoa, why do you have to add miserable? Okay.
Hey, listen, you're the one saying it, but
that was the implication by wishing for a nuclear fallout.
Yeah, I don't think any mentally sane like individual who's appreciative of their current life circumstances would wish for nuclear fallout. It seems like a very jaded thing to do.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at the he wrote for something else, but this still applies. How do you feel about O.J. Simpson? You think he did or not?
If the glove don't fit.
So he's innocent?
I think, honestly, I haven't even looked into the forensics like to that level to be able to make a call, like the whole case and everything. That was before my time, but
he definitely did that shit. He wrote that book and
right. But I feel like to some degree. Do a victory lap, but to some degree, it's like Mikey had a very good take. We discussed this actually before. After OJ's passing, Mikey and I we convened and we discussed this topic. But it was something to do with the fact that he had so much. He didn't get punished enough for it. He led like such a, I guess from his perspective, like quite the life, and there wasn't any like karmic rebound coming at him. I mean, there's the whole decade in jail and all of that, but that was like completely separate. And I do think there's some side to it where it's like, maybe if he was innocent, somebody else wasn't innocent, Like, he took the fall. There's that sort of take as well. And arguably, taking the fall for something like that is also like, just as bad because it's like you're preventing the justice from like unfolding. But
you think karma's real?
Do I think karma's real?
Yeah. You said he didn't have bad karma.
I think when you, as a real force, like everything has to be balanced out by something else. It's not like a complete, arbitrary.
I guess it's balanced out by other people suffering. Like,
exactly. Yeah. So it's not
like when I buy like new Jordan 1s. Like like my happiness is balanced out by the misery of like these like
the
kids
sweatshop workers. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So one day, you're going to face the consequences for buying those Jordan 1s. And you're either going to be conscious of it or you're going to be like, wow, how did this happen to me? It's quite beautiful.
You think so?
One day, yeah. Something.
Huh.
Like maybe you'll trip and face plant in like the street and like, I don't know if you have like glasses
I don't think my dad has been paid.
Break, but yeah, well, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be proportional.
What about the owner of the sweatshop? Like, is he also getting like, is it like, like 5% then, but he gets like a 95%.
What's your worst owner?
Yeah,
the karma.
I think in its own way, it just works out balanced. Like somebody ends up taking that brunt of the karma. It's not necessarily like a oh yeah, this guy owned the sweatshop, he takes 85%. I was a consumer, I take 5%, and the like distributors take like 10% of the karmic debt there. But no, I think things work out one way or another. And unfortunately, some, not as involved parties are affected. So it's definitely tragic. But that's just the way things are.
That's just the way it is. Any questions, Alja?
Who's the best memer of Earthmc all time?
Best memer
funniest,
all time.
Funniest Earthmc.
Objectively funniest.
Not well, in your opinion.
In my opinion.
Your opinion. How do you even do objectively funniest?
Like I don't know, like Reddit upvotes, like.
No.
Yeah.
To you.
I'd say to me.
I'm like, don't say someone that like I don't know, maybe you have like some like friends from who like outside.
What if
of
my
friends?
What if my friends are
obviously they're gonna be funny.
Oh, you mean like non-EarthMC related? Like you mean keep it EMC related?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, my friend Joe, he's real funny. Like you ask obviously
the EMC,
but
I mean like I don't know,
scope.
like Jot or someone, like people don't know who that is.
No, I think for EMC, I definitely put I think Slope.
Slope.
Yeah, he was like the only reason he's just like not active right now, but he was like when he is active, he is like very funny, and like all the memes he's made and everything, like they've definitely lasted like throughout the time.
Yeah, the Slope portfolio.
Yeah, he was the one to revolutionize the game.
Do you remember when he fumbled that thing with Genoa, like that DM?
Oh yeah, that was tragic.
That was his last like big moment in my memory.
Yeah. After that, he fell off.
No, he had a big moment recently. He updated his creative server. It's at one point.
Oh yeah, that was his own thing, I guess. But that really was the last thing. Like he came out, heard about Overclaim, came out swinging the gate, immediately got put into the dirt. It was tragic. I couldn't even watch. I had to cover my eyes upon seeing what unfolded.
It was so terrible.
It really was. I still remember my reaction when he messaged me like, "Hey, I talked to this guy," and I'm like, "You what?" And it was
you what?
Like it was literally like, oh my god, I can't even reflect on it.
What are your thoughts on Genoa? Describe Genoa in 5 words.
Genoa in 5 words.
Yeah.
I'd
Good
say
question.
wish they were an acronym, GRE. Wish they were the
What?
GRE.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
They really are chasing this like post Nova high that they never achieved, and then right as they're getting it with Overclaim coming out, it's like all falling down on them. You know, there's still
you think that like if Venice didn't exist, like if like Dan and Fritz didn't come back and it didn't get revived, and if Spain fell, that Genoa would have like capitalized on that and like become the GRE. You use their Turkish connections to like.
I think inevitably, yeah, because their whole point was to unite Italy. And then when we got in their way and we started doing things abroad, they set their sights like against us elsewhere, you know, as well. Like I don't think they were just gonna be like, all right, we're done with Italy, you know, we're chilling now. Like who does that on EMC? You know, it takes a very restrained group. So you're saying right now, if the NSR was in the position to take more land, they wouldn't? Because I feel like they've definitely done that in places like Iberia. Yeah, they did do that in the past. Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. It definitely is the natural greed of the EMC player. It's like innate human greed. Like if you can do something or get more power or exert some more influence over something, like you will do it. So that's what I feel like. That's the route any EMC player goes down. Like you're never just satisfied with like, oh yeah, I united all of Bosnia. Like would he really have stopped there, or would he have been like, oh, I'll get some neighboring maybe some Slovenia and these other areas if you could claim all of it? I think you would.
Yeah,
and then you reform Yugoslavia and you keep going and stuff like that. So that's every EMC player's universal experience, the desire to.
That's how I joined Earthmc, because I was picking between Bosnia and Yugoslavia, and I was like,
right.
Well, I feel like Yugoslavia has more potential,
Exactly.
As a concept, as an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know, it was all a front. It was all a facade to get me.
It really was.
Get me hooked onto the Romanism.
It really was the client state Yugoslavia of the GRE, Byzantium.
All right, so wrap the podcast up. Oh, Dan's gone.
Damn.
I'm not gone. What?
He's still here. I can still hear him.
I get it. To wrap it up, most annoying EarthMC player.
Most annoying EarthMC player? This is probably going to take me like another 10 minutes. I don't know. It's like, you got, like, of all time metric, can we do like some sub awards? Like most annoying on Discord, most annoying in-game, most annoying like per map? Like, I'll pick all the fights if you give me the sub.
Who annoyed you the most today?
Today?
32 Louis.
Honestly, a runner-up. I mean, I don't even... I think
maybe he had a good day. Maybe he didn't get annoyed today.
No, I didn't really get annoyed today. If I was to like scale it, I'd probably say Mikey annoyed me the most. And that's just because Mikey's so naturally annoying that even if I'm not consciously like annoyed by him, he gives off these like vibes that like in my brain like implants him as like perpetually annoying, But he wasn't annoying to me. He was just like acting annoying, So
I think I've annoyed you a lot, like especially during Nova, like. Like, I think I caused you a lot of, like, I don't know.
I think out of the the whole group, like you, Fritz, you guys were definitely annoying to some degree, but it was a manageable level of annoying. Like if it was really like that bad, where it's like I just went Trajan mode and like banished you from like the realm, or I did some shit like just quit EMC because of it, then it would have been like meritable. But I sort of just took your guys' like attitude as like a necessary part of like dealing with the nation, because it's not like I had to put up with you guys. I put up with you guys because I wanted to cooperate and like make great things happen on Nova.
Isn't it crazy? Like I look back at like old like messages, I'm like, damn, I'm a completely different person. But Fritz, I feel like he's the exact same.
Like he just never had that change. Is that what you're claiming?
Well, no, he was a lot better than me in Nova. Like I was way more annoying than Fritz. But
so now you're saying you made more progress than Fritz over the course.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I don't know. I'm friend. Fritz is my friend. I feel like I feel like he's changed like very little. Still the same old Fritz.
I feel like I have memories of Greed DMing me on Nova to complain about all shot from time to time. Like
that's
him
crazy.
That may have been true.
Fumbling.
Bro had the emoji with the nail getting the nail polish on. He's like, so. Oh,
what?
Shot, right?
What? Why'd you have to make it so like gay?
You had to make it fruity. He thought I was like debriefing you. Like
it's more just like when we would talk about Sly. I feel like I'm just making this up, but my heart tells me that from time to time Greed would be like, today Slice cite the town and also all Jad soda gypsies or something like that. You know what I mean?
It would just be like a counter. Not a counter. It'd just be like an additional blow to like the morale. I'd be like, oh yeah, Fritz acted, brain dead in VC, and then at the same time, Sly, bolted into this.
Abe left the Discord because of Fritz today.
Yeah, and also, it'd be like an internal versus like external type of a thing. Like there's some stuff like that just happened ambiently, and then there's this other thing where it's like, oh yeah, and then Allshot posted, Sonic inflation fetish gifs, and then I had to deal with that again today,
Yeah.
Like it was just another side thing in my EMC mission, I guess.
All right. Last question. I gotta change your name. Okay, I'll go. I'll let Dan answer first.
Second to last question. Do you think EMC will exist in 5 years from now?
5 years from now?
Yeah, 2029.
I think if Minecraft exists, which I have high confidence that it will exist for a very long time, and it doesn't go to like Minecraft 2, then I think it does exist as long as the servers.
You see Mojang said they want Minecraft to be a 100-year game.
Yeah, it's the perfect game, because if they release like a Minecraft 2, like they'd have to, rework things. They mess up like the already profitable thing they have. But like Minecraft in itself, other than like being coded in Java, it's like infinitely expandable. Like they're never gonna run out of animals to add. Like 2026, they're gonna add whales. 2029, they're gonna add sharks. Like it's infinite. There's just so much content that they're able to milk out of it for like the next decades.
Just like Earthmc, geopolitics will always be popular.
Exactly. So I do think in 5 years, EMC easily remains online. I don't know how it look like. It looks drastically different. Maybe it looks, exactly the same. Maybe we go full circle. We get rid of Overclaim.
Yeah.
Wow. Something else. Yeah.
All right, Arsha, go ahead. Wrap it up.
So you have to change your name from CorruptedGreed to something else. What is it? What do you change it to?
My second option when I came up with CorruptedGreed was Greed Corrupts, but I probably wouldn't go with that.
That's really bad.
I know. I'm really glad I picked this one. Like I had an internal debate about it, where I'm like, what name do I pick? And I was really
but like right now, not back then,
Well, yeah, but I think back to back then, and I realized like, how did I come up with my name? I think I'd probably make it something that's like obscure enough to where like I'd know what it means, but like other people don't know what it means. Something similar
like for Lupins.
Yeah, like Fruit Lupins, 8031.
Those are pretty good names.
Another good example of this, I
think something like Persian or like would be cool, like a word in Farsi.
Maybe. Oh yeah. I'm actually doing a word in Farsi. That'd be pretty cool. I think it was like the owner of the 4B4T, this one Anarchy server after 2B2T. He had a name that apparently was part of his street address on like the street he lived in, and I was in his name. And like
I thought you were about to say it was his street name, like he was a thug. Like
no, like not like his street name, but like his literal like address that his house was on. And like unfortunately somebody found this out and connected the pieces through like some other means. So like he effectively like self-doxed himself. So I don't think I'd put like my street address as my name, but maybe some similar sort of like characteristic or some nickname or something where I don't even know what it means. Maybe even the word.
What if you change your name to Terra Australis too?
Like it's just Terra Australis too.
Yeah, what about that?
I mean, I feel like it's pretty wordy, but you know, it could work out. Like, what would people call me? Would they call me like Terra Australis or two? Like, or would they still call me Greed?
Probably Terra. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think they'd call you two.
Maybe they would call me Terra, because a lot of people call me Greed, and a lot of people call me like Corrupted at the same time. But I think mostly it lands on Greed because that's like.
I don't know. I don't get people call you Corrupted. That's weird. Why would you pick that one?
A lot of people. First, yeah, a lot of people just go with the first word. Surprisingly.
It is surprising indeed.
Yeah.
What is also surprising is that the episode is officially over.
Yeah, it's really shocking.
Well, it's not very surprising because we did say final question. It's like the opposite surprising, really.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's been a wild ride. It's been highs, lows, lows. You know,
we laughed, we cry.
Truly.
Yep.
This is Earthmc. It's all here.
Thank you. And tomorrow we're gonna have another episode.
Ooh.
It's gonna be on the Perc podcast, and it's gonna be 1832 and Drunk Slope.
Right. Can't wait.
Yeah.
I wonder who's doing the interviews for those.
We have a new reporter up and coming.
A new reporter. Can't wait to see it. Well, thank you guys for having me on. Definitely a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Until next time. Goodbye.
See y'all.